Hello, all you hardcores out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the biggest gob in sport. We say the things on here that nobody dares say. Now we're just waiting for Anthony. Let's give him a text message, see if he's on. Oh, I think he's on now. How you doing, Anthony? Hope you're well. You all right, mate? Can't hear you, Anthony. Can't hear you, mate.
Hi, Porky, can you
Oh,
hear me?
yeah, I'm all right, mate. All right, let me just get myself a drink. 2 seconds.
No worries. Good. It was actually saying that there was no audio, and now the audio seems to be working fine. Technology, yeah?
All right, I'm just cracking the old whip here. Might get a
Good
bit.
man.
Thanks.
How was it last night? Can you actually hear me, Porky?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. I can
Good.
hear you.
Because it was saying actually, I just sent you a message saying it was saying there's no audio, and then I tested it, and then it tested fine, and then when it came on, it said no audio, and then I joined, and it's all fine. You know?
Yeah, I don't know if it's bad signal here.
Nah,
I'm not sure.
I think it was a technical. Here's the first question. How was your sesh last night?
I don't
I
know.
want all the gory details. I don't want you missing out anything because I'm gonna have to start calling up some of the people you were out with.
No, we were all right, mate. We were all right.
Good,
It's
good,
recovered
good boy. I'm
now.
getting my porky fix, even though I'm the subject of it.
The secret to when you've had a late one is tomato juice, I'm afraid. Sorry,
Right,
tomato soup. Sorry, tomato soup and tomato
right.
juice with a bit of Worcester sauce in. 2 slices of brown bread with no crust. So.
Yeah, it's the dehydration that gets you because alcohol
That
dehydrates you. That's what it does.
orange gin, yeah. The last slave died of belt. You know, the old pit belt.
Uh,
But cheers, Anthony. Hope you're well.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much for inviting me back on.
Oh, you been? You
As you
all right?
know, yeah, okay. You know that I've been having some dramas that for the viewers. That's oh, there's some funny things that go on in life that you have to
Yeah,
deal with. Everybody has their cross to bear, you know.
yeah, we do.
So, but it's all been solved, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
they've gone out, so it's all good.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Oh,
Well, a lot's been gone on. A lot's gone on since we last spoke. The main topic. Before we start, I just want to obviously I put a video out yesterday. You know the Joshua Fury one, the curious case of Fury Joshua. And
yeah,
in it, I said that I was going to invite trolls on here. Now, eight
right,
trolls took me up on the offer and sent emails. And they put in what they put in. So
right.
Cameron sent them the links, right, and dealt with them. Sent them the links. So this is from 10 a.m. up to the last few hours. Every 30 minutes, they all had a link, right? So I've
Right.
been sat in garden, just chilling out today, right? Having a cuppa and some tomato soup. Anyway, to cut a long story short, not one of them logged on. So there you go. So they've had the
Yeah.
opportunity, and then I'm going to give them 20 quid each to come on because I want to have a look at them. And whoever got the most views out of a lot of them, I'd have thrown £100. Not one of
Yeah.
them came on. So there you go. So what can you do?
That's that's why I admire this platform, Porky, because you've
Yeah.
got passionate fans like myself and all the other commission boys. And you started something you have. I know you're not part of the group, but you started something because
Yeah,
you
I'll
know
come
we
in your
talk.
WhatsApp group. I don't really, but what it is, you see, at night time, my phone's pinging all the time,
Yeah,
left,
yeah,
right,
no,
and centre. And it
yeah,
would be
yeah,
on that, and I wouldn't want to be rude. And
yeah.
I'd be
No, no,
getting, but
it's no issue whatsoever, Porky. But the point I'm making is your platform is such that somebody with an opinion can come on. And let's have it right. It's poor show if you're going to be a troll, and then when you're invited to say your piece,
not really trolls, though, really. They want to come on and they want to have an opinion, but they just come out with outlandish stuff. And if you disagree with them, that's what happens. But they're more than welcome to come on here
well,
and let's have a look at yours. Come on, let's see what you're about.
sure,
Or
yeah,
they don't have to show the face, they put a picture. Well, let's see what these people are about. I'm giving them the opportunity, and I've offered them a score apiece to come on, and they've bottled it. So there you go. That's what
Yep.
you're up against. So
Yeah, and that's human weakness because at the end of the day, what I like is that I could come on here with you. I say my
there
piece.
you be.
You don't have to agree with me or anything like that. There are lots of other people that say their piece as well. And everybody always brings something to the table because we've all had different lives. But it is a poor show that once given the opportunity, they say, oh, no, thank you very much. Come on. Shit houses, right?
Hmm. I was speaking to Scott Brunt last week. He's doing a charity event for some girl that's not very well. She's got something wrong with her in Greensboro, and also he's looking to do a an evening with Peter Fury, and he asked me if I'll do MC work for it because obviously I know Peter, and I said yeah, I'll do it
Right.
if you can put it all together. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, but I'm not sure if it's April 26th or something, but I've got a couple of big pictures. I'm gonna have they put cling film around them, don't they, 7 or 8 times, and I'm gonna take them up to the and let them auction them off for charity. So it's all good stuff, isn't it? Not everybody in boxing is bad. There's a lot of people that give, and Scott puts his hand in his pocket. He's not shy.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking forward to that, and let's hope they can raise some money for this girl. But I've got a couple of big pictures here, 3 foot by 2 foot ones. So
Right.
other than that, I'm all right. I've got a couple of topics I want to talk to you about. The first one I
Sure.
want to talk about now we've got Trollgate out of the way because none of them have got any knackers. Right, they've got Trollgate out of the way. Dan Towan, a Sam Jones fighter, got knocked
Right.
out on Friday.
Right.
Yet Sam Jones, yet again, taking an L for his fighters. I know he didn't take an L with Johnny Fisher, but
Right.
they're
But
putting
it
him
should have
back.
been.
He should have been, and they're putting him back in it right now, and he'll get knocked about and that. I'm starting to wonder, looking through the matchmaking that he's done. We all know what happened with Joyce, don't we, Joe Joyce?
Right.
And how he should have got his title shot, and he was trying to keep everybody happy and not force it with WBA. Him and Adam Morley and whatever they were doing. Listen,
Right.
this is how I look at it, right? Is Sam Jones a little mercenary? Is he a little mercenary? I'm starting to wonder now if he's just in it for himself. He's just one of them guys that he goes into bat for his fighters on social media constantly. Sunday sermons, Monday mass. Just like
Right.
certain trainers do that too much, for my opinion. Billy Nelson does it. Bombay Dave does it.
Yeah.
But Shane McGuigan's starting to do it now. Ben Davison used to do it all the time. He doesn't so much now. He's gone quiet, hasn't he? But I'm starting to wonder, is Sam Jones, Mr. Botox himself, is he a mercenary? And has he got these fighters' best interests at heart? Because I speak to license holders all the time and world-class trainers, and basically they think this guy is just an absolute arse licker, and he's just a nodding dog for Eddie and Bricktor. Eddie Hills and Bricktor. I just wonder what you thought about him as a boxing
Yeah, because
guy. I
he's
know he's got a lot of waffle and that. Talks a good game, but I think he's been found out now as a manager. I don't know what do you think?
I'd agree with you because they say that your actions tell people who you are, and your words is who you want them to think you are, correct?
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing with him. The kid that just lost, is this what, sixth fight,
Dan
wasn't it?
Fowler,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
is this sixth fight? Why is he in with someone that can ice him? That's my question, number one. And number two, it looks that way because you're always hearing a narrative, like what he was saying with Joe Joyce and the bone density and everything else. To
pure
me,
lies, I've had various operations over years, and I spoke to somebody from the Claremont in Sheffield, and I asked him about that, and he was like, "What? Do you believe that?" I went, "Well, is this true?" No, he said it's the biggest load of rubbish he's ever heard in his life, but all the YouTubers went with it, didn't they? And everybody bought into this.
it's a narrative,
Bone
isn't it?
density is 6 times stronger than the average man's. I mean, what is he? The guy out of the Fantastic Four? Do you know him that's made out of tarmac?
Correct, yeah. Um, to me, it seems like characters like Sam Jones are what you call penny wise and pound foolish.
Yeah.
What they want to do is at the very first opportunity, they want to put their guy into, I wouldn't call it a cash out fight, but certainly a 50-50 or a
And
60-40
they're
in the
not
other
ready.
guy's favor because the money's right. Whereas if you've actually got a guy who is a talent, it's like anything else. I remember when people were bringing some of the great fighters up, and they said, we need to get them the right fights at the right time. And
Yeah.
once you've built your guy and he's got the relevant experience, you can then start putting him in the 50-50s and whatever. And if the guy has got the talent
Mhm.
and has the experience, the money comes, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it seems like it's almost the reverse of what they did with Anthony Yard, isn't it? That is Muppet trainer Tunde did with him. Is nobody's cab, Latvian cabmen, and then all of a sudden, great, we'll put in a dominant champion. All right, he's on the slide, but he was a dominant champion. And then all of a sudden, you're back to the Latvian bin men, and then right, we're going to put you in there with a KO artist where nobody's ever seen the bell, and we'll see how you do. It doesn't work. You're either going to build a fighter properly or you're not. And Sam Jones, in my opinion, I would agree with you because he's taken an awful lot of L's, isn't it? And that kid in his sixth fight to be iced like that, I actually saw the knockout, but I didn't see the fight. You know, um, yes, he'll come again, but it's his sixth fight. Come on.
Well, do you know when I look at Sam Jones and I see him, like when Catrell got beat,
Yep.
and he's done this with other guys he's had. Whenever there's a fight, or even or even somebody's where there's a fight and somebody's been beat on points and everybody's shocked. He always, especially if it's his fighter, he always comes out with, well, I could have seen 113. I can't see 115, 113, but I could have seen 113, 115. Depends what you're looking for. We have swing rounds. Depends what the judge is like. And setbacks pave the way for comebacks. And even Muhammad Ali got beat. And we go back to the drawing board. And he's a tough kid, and I love him. He's part of my family, and all this. It's all knackers to disarm people. Basically, I don't
Correct.
think the man knows what he's doing. I
Correct.
think he's blagged it, and I think he's out his depth. And for what I mean with people in industry, the big dogs, your Frank Smiths, your
Yep.
Andy Ayling, who are the guys under your brick tops, and Eddie Hills. They think he's an absolute whopper. He's an absolute whopper. He just agrees with everything. He never really goes into bat for his fighters with Doe and all that. And all this about that he's Johnny Fisher's manager. Listen, he may be down on paper as his manager because he can get himself out there on social media. But do you seriously think that Sam Jones calls the shots on who
No,
Johnny Fisher fights? Yes or no?
no,
There
not
you
at
go.
all. Right.
There
And
you
not
go.
only that, the waffle that he comes out with Ali losing and all these people. Yeah, Ali lost after he was world champion and after he had a layoff for 3 years, and he lost to another all-time great, right? In
Yeah.
other words, his CV and his skill level and everything else was built properly. If he's getting people, he's got prospects that he's meant to be building up. And in your sixth fight, you're taking a KO loss, right? To me, you're matching them too hard, or you haven't got their best interest at heart, or as you say, he's a blagger and doesn't know the art of matching your fighter properly until he's built what I call a thorough resume of styles. Because
Yeah.
and I know when you go into boxing, it's can a fighter, a prospect, for example, when faced with something different, adapt. And that comes with one, confidence, and two, the right kind of matchmaking previously. Sam Jones has never done that. Name one person that Sam Jones has had where there hasn't been a whoopsie.
Brilliant one, is that? Let me just
There
say
you
this.
go.
Let me just say this. Going back to Muhammad Ali. Let's look at Muhammad Ali's defeats.
Right. First
Defeat.
one was to Joe Fraser in
Joe
71, isn't it?
Fraser, right.
Oh,
He was the undisputed guy, but leading up to that, he was an Olympic gold medalist, the Olympics
correct.
after Ali. His
Correct.
second defeat was that Ken Norton.
Correct. Ken Norton, who again turned out to be an extremely competent and very awkward fighter, right?
Right,
He
and
was
Ken
outstanding.
Norton's in Hall of Fame, isn't he, right?
Correct. Ken
Joe
Norton is, yeah.
Fraser, Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Third defeat. Who was that?
Right.
Leon
Good.
Spinks.
Correct. Right at the end of his career, isn't
Olympic
it?
gold medalist.
Yeah.
Rematched him and beat him. He's an Hall of
Correct.
Famer.
Correct.
Fourth defeat, Larry Holmes, right? Never
Correct.
been to Olympics. Should have gone to Olympics.
Yeah. And was
In
his sparring partner for several years. Ali knew.
yeah,
I heard, sorry, I heard Holmes saying, because he beat him out, he said, I knew I could beat Ali in 78 because he sparred with him and he learned basically he was the next coming of Ali.
well,
So
he
Ali,
sparred with him for the Foreman fight with Tim Witherspoon.
correct, and he shouldn't have, Ali shouldn't have been in there because they knew at that stage in 1980
He
that
had a long
Ali.
layoff.
Yeah, not only had the layoff, he had Parkinson's syndrome as well. He shouldn't have been in there. And then his final defeat after that
Trevor
is
Burbank.
Mr. Burbeck, isn't it?
And he was
Who,
an Olympian, didn't win a medal, but he was an Olympian. And also, he went on to be the WBC world champion, lost his belt to Mike Tyson.
Tyson, correct. But the
So
point is,
that's Ali,
one of them,
Ali's defeats.
every single one of them are very, very, very distinguished fighters. You had to be special to get the better of that kid. And that's why he's the great. Let's face it, Porky. He was Sugar Ray Robinson in a 220-pound body. That's what he was.
Exactly. So,
Yes.
like I said, getting back to Sam Jones, I think he's finished in boxing. Me now, he's hanging on for dear life to Johnny Fisher, but after the White Rhino wipes the floor with him, I think he'd be
Yep.
gone. I think he'd be gone out of the game, mate. He'd be flashing the pan like Ambrose Mendy.
Correct. Because you can't have that many whoopsies when you've got single digit fights
What
for
happened to Florian
prospects.
Marco, who were going to win a world title? Where's he now?
Yeah, Sam Jones and
What happened to
look,
Joe
if
Joyce? Where's he now? He's talking like Scooby Doo.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
my view is Joe Joyce is a busted flush. He should have never been in there with what's his name, the
So,
Big Bang Zhang. Should never have been in there. Look, what it is that you
well,
get
he's
these guys,
bone
they chances.
density. He's not frightened of any man. I mean, with the world's strongest bone density. Oh my God!
Where did he come from? He's just to me, he's got the air of a chancer.
Listen, Sam Jones, you've been running your mouth off lately about me. When I see it, I'm going to close it for you. Right, I don't know where he come from, Derby in it, so he needs to go back to Derby and have some proper Botox in his face or get his face done properly. Uh, right, nitty gritty. Ben and Eubank, Egg Gate. What do you
Right.
make of it?
Oh, pantomime, isn't it? Absolute
So
pantomime.
stupid, and it's so
And
stupid now, isn't it?
yeah, it is. And what I will say is that I think Eddie Hills is very jealous of a certain Chris Eubank Jr., who's turning out to be a better promoter than him. Because I think that Eubank Jr. has sold that fight beautifully to the casuals, right? He's
Yeah.
created the right amount of buzz. But you know, and I know that you don't get into those conferences with anything they don't want you to be in. Everybody's in
Can't
on
get
it,
in.
and it's
Can't get
all a
in.
narrative to get the tongues wagging, right? The talk sport phones buzzing. Everybody's on about how could he do that? They're even moaning that he could have been blinded by an eggshell. And you think, what are you guys talking about? Right?
Shell.
If you're worried about an eggshell doing you damage, these guys are about to knock lumps out of each other and they're draining people. We're weight draining people for it. So no. So my view is that it's all a one big pantomime, Porky.
You know, I
And
put a
it's
raw egg in my shake in the morning, right? I just throw egg in, full egg. I'm
yep,
not bothered
that's right.
about it all getting mangled up. I'm like, it's egg shell. That is
Yeah,
it. I mean, you're getting it, you know, when you get punched in the face, it's like being hit by a 30-pound mallet, isn't it? You know, for
correct.
a professional boxer. So why would you bother about a fucking raw egg?
Yeah,
What, what,
it's just
what?
a narrative to
And then
sell
Nigel
on.
Ben running around saying, I thought he glassed my son. What shite are these people talking? all orchestrated, all orchestrated, or whatever they call it, all organised,
Orchestrated.
orchestrated. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
sounded like fucking
Porky.
Dave Allen then, didn't I? Trying to get me words.
Well, the reason they're doing it, Porky, is that this is Hill's cash out fight for his fighter, isn't it? This is a cash out fight for Conor Benn. He needs to get as much money back as he can because he's spent a bit promoting him. He had it all good up until the fight 2 years ago, and then Conor shat the bed, and that has happened, and that's cost more time and money. And as you say, they're accountants. They have got a figure that they have invested in him, as you have
You want it back.
enlightened everybody. Not only they want that back, they look at that as their punt, and they want what 3x, 2x, 4x, whatever it is on what they've put in, right? And in order to do that, you need to sell that fight to the average punter. And the only thing that they know that sells is massive controversy and new stuff and beefs and this and that and the other. And it's all what we're seeing. And I'll be honest with you, Porky, remember we spoke about it the first time. It's going to drive you mad and make you sick. But that's what they do, isn't it? They sell a narrative, right? They sell you a bill of goods, and that bill of goods has got nothing to do with the product you're going to get, right?
Just like
Ben
Liam
hasn't fought
Cameron
for an
when he
area
got
tire,
when Liam
title, has
Cameron
he? Sorry,
when Liam Cameron got busted for coke with Dennis.
right,
He'd been busted fight before for the Sheedy fight, but it all got hushed up.
right,
And they gave him another chance. So then he got done for the next fight because he was coming down, money from super middle to middle. He came
right,
down to 158 actually for both fights. But the point I want to make is when Dennis found out about the second one, but he didn't know about the first. He found out about the Gemman fight. He were fuming.
right.
But then when it came out about the first one, Dennis were like, how much have I got invested in him? I think it was something like about, according to Dennis, 30, 40 grand. And he went, you know what? I'm done. Why would I want to throw lawyers at this? Do you know what I mean? When they
Right.
kept that first one from him, when Liam kept
And
it from him, the Sam Sheedy fight, the coach fight.
yeah, and this is when boxers don't do themselves favors, do they? Because as a
No.
fighter, you realize you are the product, and at some point they're going to take you to meat market, right?
Wait.
Your job as a fighter is to delay that day going to meat market as long as possible.
Put some ice in it this time.
Yeah.
Go on, man.
Yeah, I was saying that your job as a fighter is to delay the day they're taking you to meat market,
Yeah.
and in the interim, take as little damage as possible while making as much money as possible. And for that, you need allies on your side.
They want
So,
their money back, don't they, these promoters? They have a file on each fighter they promote. And
yeah,
each file, they'll mark down what money they've had, how many chiropractors, how many massages, how many sports massages, how many times they've gone on aeroplanes and they've gone to hot countries to train, and it all goes on the list. And eventually they take them to meat market, don't they? That's what happens. And
yeah,
obviously, Eddie Hills, have it all wrote down how much they've got invested in Conor Benn. And they
yeah,
knew that once that fight got pulled, they got too much in him. Oh, we're going to get this back. They
yeah,
had to cover it all. They had to do something because they got the leg in. And they
right,
managed to get away with it. They pulled the wool over everybody's eyeballs and they've got away with it. And now we're at a stage where Carl Froch said he got them Ben interview, didn't he, on his social media? But it looks like it's not on his channel, it's on DAZN. So that'll be a
okay,
soft interview, I think, won't it, really? If
yeah.
if it comes out. It should have been out today, shouldn't it? But they've got the
I haven't
DAZN.
seen it yet. I haven't seen anything
Nobody's
yet.
seen it yet, but it's going. It's apparently it's on DAZN and it's not on Froch on Fighting. But I'm still going to give benefit of doubt because I want him to go. Not
Yeah,
so
it's
much
your
go
mate,
after
Porky.
him. Just ask him. Well, how did he get in his system, and where's this dossier? It's just a couple of simple questions, very simple. But I don't think he'll get a chance to ask them on his own because they're not. It is. It's like, in my opinion, because it's going on DAZN, Eddie's like letting him have that bone on DAZN, knowing full well that he's not going to be able to ask what he wants. So he shows himself up really, Wayne Carl, when really he should have said, no, I'll only interview him if it's on my channel. But they're not
Yeah,
going to do that, will they?
Yeah, my view is with Carl is that the mistake was made with the Whitaker because, in my opinion, given the figures that he's doing and how his channel was growing, if he dug his heels in and said, guys, I've got to show some kind of independence, they would have allowed, in my opinion, they would have allowed that. And what they would do is they would work with him. The problem that you've got is once you roll over and show your belly, you can't all of a sudden, when they come back, start showing your teeth, can you?
No, you can't, mate. You can't, and
It's
it's
a shame. It
something.
really is a shame.
Yeah,
And you're a man of principle, Porky. And because you're a man of principle, that's why I'm not surprised you said to these trolls, come on, have your say.
they
Because
come on
it's
here
not,
anytime they want. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
but
you
they
don't
won't do
want to.
it because they're not men of principle. Do you understand? And the irony is that here's what I think, Porky, with you, and I don't know what you think. I think you would make a very good manager for fighters. You know enough about boxing. The problem that you're going to have as a manager is that a lot of people are going to want to freeze you out because they know that you have got your fighter's best interests at
You know
heart.
what? I look at it like this. I wouldn't want to be a fight. I wouldn't want to be a manager for a fight because I wouldn't want to take any money off them because it's that small at the bottom end. They hardly get out. But
Yeah.
I'd like to give people advice, and they don't need to speak to me personally. The advice is simple.
Just charge
Don't.
a fee for it then.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. I don't. I don't want. I want anything off them. I wouldn't want to take. But what I will say this to fighters out there: manage yourself after you've been a professional for a year, because by the law or by the law of the Boxing Board of Control or their rules, after 3 years you can manage yourself. But do not trust anybody and don't fight anybody you don't think you're ready for. No matter what money's offered, don't. But don't trust anybody. All this, you see, what happens is these days we're managers. When they come to get the money. They get the money and they go, how much? And then manager will go, well, there's chiropractic this, there's sports massage that, there's expenses this and expenses that, food and
Yeah.
beverage. And before you know where you are, the fighter's left with nothing. It's pony macaroni, right?
Don King style, isn't it?
That's what
You
happens. I've
you
seen it
you
every
knew.
Monday after a show when they're like, how much?
Yeah. You knew because I've heard the story that you mentioned. You knew exactly how much Tim Witherspoon was paid by Don King for the
90
Bruno
grand. He got $90,000 after everything.
as the champion, and Bruno had got 900 grand.
900. There you go. There you go.
Mate,
And all the money that goes under the table, it all happens. There's money
mate,
under the table.
could you imagine knocking out a challenger and you get 90 grand, realizing that your challenger has got 900 grand?
And you've gone
And
to another country to do it.
yeah, I heard,
But what you forgot there, Anthony, is this. Tim Witherspoon, who used to be a minder for Dennis's dad.
right,
He's not behind the door. He shafted Dennis's dad for thousands and thousands of pounds. He's a ponce. But
right.
Tim Witherspoon, let me tell you this, should have stood up for himself a bit more to Don King, shouldn't he, really? But then he went and bragged off about throwing a fight against James
Correct.
Bone
Bone Crusher
Smith in the
Smith. Because
first
I was gonna
round.
ask you that next.
But he
Now,
sued Don King. He sued him for $1 million and won.
right. Because I was gonna. It's funny because that's exactly what I was going to ask. Because he actually did. He says he deliberately threw the fight because there was no point in being champion if he's getting paid that.
You want me to tell you a funny Tim Witherspoon story?
Absolutely.
Tim Witherspoon came into London, not London Hilton, Sheffield International Hilton, right? It's a Victoria Quays, is it, or wherever it is in Sheffield. After a Clinton Woods fight, everybody's in toilets having a snort.
Of the old Colombian marching.
Tim Witherspoon's coming to the toilet, got the old chopper out, had a
Right.
splash, gone to
Right.
wipe his hands, washed his hands, and then he's got the dryer thing, and he's
Right.
turned the dryer, right, pointed it at the windowsill where the chaps were having a snort, and it's really late at night, and it blew all the fucking sniff all over the place. Well, the place nearly went up, didn't it? These were some pals of
Mate.
mine, but yeah, these some of the pals from Doncaster.
Heavyweight champion or not, I reckon they would have set about him if you do that kind
Oh
of
my God, mate.
behavior.
I swear to God, there were about 5 or 6 from there and it nearly all went up. And he had that big booming laugh like Frank Bruno. And he carried on bouncing. Well, he was fat then, like, but he carried on bouncing about. But
What
he
is he
got a pass
doing?
there because he was like always with Dennis's dad. And he's a jovial kind of guy, but one of them that's always there with hand out. And I tell you where he ended up. He ended up working at a golf place near Ask. I'm not sure if it's Ouston Ferry or somewhere like that in Doncaster. And he was like a live-in meet and greeter at this golf club for 200 or 300 quid a week, but getting his digs as well. So and that's a two-time heavyweight champion at Wales. So my argument is this. All you fighters out there, look after your money because that's what happens to heavyweight champs if you don't listen to the right people.
Correct. Not only that, Porky, I heard, and I'm sure I saw it in a documentary, is that Tim was going there. He liked a bit of a party and everything else. And Ali came up to him and said, Ali said to him, "You're getting robbed." And Tim's going, "Nah, nah, nah, nah." He goes, "You're getting robbed." And he wouldn't believe any of it until he got that check.
He
And
used
then
to
he
train
realized,
Clinton Woods, you know. He trained Clinton Woods at one point.
right,
Tim
right,
Witherspoon.
right.
Yeah, no, they were good mates. I think they still are good mates. But I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but there's, he got
He
about
needs refining, doesn't he?
10
You don't,
brain cells in his head, mate. But when you're dealing with people like your Don Kings
and
and
Frank
people like
Warren's
Big
and
Ron, Dennis Hobson, that
yeah,
these people are very sharp individuals. So, and there's more, I'm not saying Dennis is a shark, but there's more people or as sharkish as Don King. But there's lots of slippery characters, your Sam Joneses and your Ambrose Mendes and
in boxing,
like
and
that in
they're all
boxing.
attracted to boxing.
Yeah, we're all attracted to it. We're all slimy little toads who are not going to go in but get a job. Whereas Dennis, he does it as a hobby, doesn't he? Really, he's not bothered if he wins or loses. Whereas other
Right.
people, it's life and death for them. You know, the Sam Joneses of this world. You know, they're taking risks with fighters, brains getting scrambled for a pound note without doing the homework. What's happened with that on Friday? They've agreed that fight. That is box rec matching. When you match a fighter to bring him on, you put him in with orthodox, you put him in with southpaws, you put him in with movers, you put him in with shakers, you put him in with pressure fighters, side to
Correct.
side guys, you put him in with messers, you put him in with ex guys who've been knocked about who can old man you, and you develop this fighter as he's coming through and develop
Yeah.
his style. Now, the best one in the country for matching, in my opinion, is Mick Hennessy.
Right.
I think he did a fantastic job with Tyson Fury and got him to Vladimir. They navigated him through choppy waters. He had Carl Froch. He navigated him. They went straight through everybody, didn't they, with
Correct.
Carl? But he
Yeah.
matched him correctly. Don't forget, I'll tell you some good matchmaking here now. Andre Dirrell ended up with a silver medal, didn't he, as a middleweight in the Olympics?
Correct.
Do you remember?
Correct. Yeah.
Now, Mick Hennessy saw that and he thought, right, and he knew that when they fight in the Olympics, they fight at 165. So he knew
Right.
that Durrell were tight at that weight, so he's going to be a 168er. So he was
Yeah.
like, Carl Froch, Durrell, they're going to meet down the line. So what did he do? He put Froch in with Matthew Barney, who's a very, very, very similar style. You know, a reflex fight, you know, a twitch fighter like Durrell,
Correct.
but maybe not as polished as Durrell. And Froch had an hard night with Matthew Barney, you know, but he won. Then yeah, had an hard night with Dirrell, but if he hadn't have had that Matthew Barney fight, I don't think he'd have got through that Dirrell fight. Now that is fantastic matchmaking. Now,
Correct.
your average guy on the street don't understand that. Well, I know because I used to match fighters. You see
Right.
where I'm coming from? And I go in lists to say, what about these here, Big Ron? And he'd go, no, 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 no. That's a good one. That's a good one. No, no, no. And get a plan B as well. And I go, what's a plan B? In case anybody's injured. So then you go back to the drawing board. It's harder than what you think. And matchmakers, they don't get as much credit.
I'd
But
agree with
as
that.
they should do. But getting back to Mick Hennessy, who was a manager promoter, Mick will sign off on every fight. Anyway, just like Eddie Hills, he'll be signing off on everything for Johnny Fisher. Not Sam Jones, the manager. He's just there to do all legwork and all joeying about and go on
Correct.
social media and big Johnny up. That's all he is. He's a spokesman, a PR guy. He's not managing the kid. He ain't got a say in fuck all. you see where I'm
Correct.
coming from? Well, people
I,
buy into this Sam Jones knackers. I don't. I don't buy into it. Not when there's put that kid's just got filled in at weekend. Well, who signed off on that? Well, he's the manager, so he don't know what
yeah.
he's doing, does he?
Correct. And that's another reason why, and I think you're right. When you look at someone like Froch, who I've always said to you has got one of the heaviest resumes,
Heavy.
the reason he's got that is because he was beautifully matched with all different kinds of
Early in his
styles.
career.
And as soon as he got the title, it was champion after champion after champion after champion, and it
And do you
didn't
know why that
matter
is? Do you know why
because
that
he's
is?
top
Because
of his
he's
game.
no, because he's tight, mate, with money. But Carl is one of them people. Why do I need to do 2 week on my own and 12 week with McCracken? That's 14 week. Why do I need to do that to fight a cream puff? That's his.
Correct.
That's it. That's his mindset. Look at Carl Froch's first defense, Jermaine Taylor
Taylor, away.
in America. And look at Joe Calzaghe's first defense, Branko Sobot, a 14-1 goat herder from Armenia in Cardiff. So you tell me about matchmaking. Calzaghe was spoon-fed, Carl Froch wasn't, but Calzaghe maybe never had the opponents that Froch had and the Super
Yeah,
Six. Do you see where I'm coming from? We're two different, totally different careers. You know
correct.
what I
But the
mean?
thing is, he's such a hard man, Carl, but he had such a diversified route of seeing all these different styles to get where he was. My point is, yes, he had the mindset, but even when the going got tough, he had enough to get over the line. And you have that through experience and confidence. And the experience and confidence comes from that matchmaking,
Yeah.
right? Very, very good. It's very good. And as I say, great, great, great resume. And
Well, okay. Do you want to go on to part two, kid?
absolutely. All right then,
See
Mr.
you in
Porky.
two
Thanks a
minutes,
lot.
yeah?
Good. Send me the link, right? Because I've
I've
got
sent
a.
you it already.
Oh, you
Sent.
sent it already. Okay. Well, let me check it. And what we'll do is we'll go on to part two, talk about something else.
Okay,
Thanks a lot,
cheers,
Mr.
mate.
Porky.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Well, that was Anthony. In part one, we're going to do part two now. I'm just going to put some more ice in me orange gin. Has him trying to try that orange gin? There's all sorts of ginger can get you now. So I'll put some ice in that, and then we'll crack on with part two because I want to cover all this about Turkey, and I want to let a right F bomb off about something. So join us on part two. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Booyaka!